All right. So when we are identifying structure, I'm going to use a buy model for this example. Basically, what we want to see is we want to see consecutive higher highs and higher lows. Right. As we break these highs, we do confirm that the market is in an up phase. Right? Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, right? This, when you open up any chart, this tells us that this market is bullish, right? By identifying highs being broken. Higher low, we have another higher high, we have another higher low, we have another higher high, and we have another higher low. So, in essence, basically, when you identify such, what we want to do is we want to buy from this area, right? This being our demand area, right? Remember, we always buy at demand and sell at supply, right? So I always say when you are analyzing any chart, the most important thing to do is to make sure that you understand the structure with clarity, right? The moment you start getting confused with what you're looking at, the best thing to do is to step away or move over to another chart, right? You need to identify this with clarity. And the only way that you can sharpen your eyes is by back testing, right? You need to put the hours in understanding your strategy or your setups, right? So, what usually happens, as we know that we want to, buy at such areas, what we would expect is to see a move back to the demand and we move away from it, right? But now, as we are talking about structure, and one of the most common mistakes that I've seen, from traders all over the world is, as we know that in an up phase, we look to see consecutive higher highs and higher lows, as you can see in this example, right? And as the price pushes up, we break structure. So this is what we call a break of structure, right? When a recent higher high is broken, right? We call that a break of structure, right? As you can see, that's the same thing that will continue happening, right? Same thing that will continue happening. Now, because of a lot of traders not being able to be patient, right, this is one of the most common mistakes that we make, right? As the market is ebbing and flowing, this is what will usually happen most of the times. All right. Remember, when you're reading structure, you want to see consecutive higher highs and higher lows. Something like this will happen, right? Where the market attempts to give us another higher high, but fails. And then we get a break of this structure, right? So I'm going to stop it right there. This is where a lot of traders find themselves trapped or jumping into the wrong market context, right? As you can see, what has happened right here is the market has failed to give us a higher high, right? That's a sign that, we might be changing direction, right? And then what will happen is, as we can see, we do have a change of character right here, right? Change of character. So what most traders will do is when they see such as an early signal to actually sell, right? You find some people already marking order blocks right here, right? Looking for the market to push into these areas as they look for opportunities to sell, right? But this is wrong. And I'm going to explain why. As the market continues moving, all right? So, as we can identify from this high and this low, right? This low right here is an external, right? So, remember, as the market is moving, we've got a swing high, right? We get a swing and we get a correction. We get a swing and we get a correction. Another swing and we get a correction. So in this case, we have this point here, which is our higher low, and this point here, which is a higher high, right? So essentially, as you can see, this market is still in an up phase, right? Because of this higher high. This market right here is still in an up phase. Now, people might have different strategies, as they approach the markets. But as I said, I've seen a lot of people make mistakes from this. Now, when you see such, right, I do not advise that you look for sells around this area because we are within this impulsive move, right? We are within this impulsive move in an up phase, right? So, and our area of interest is down here, right? Our area of interest is down here, right? Of course, we'll look at other factors like imbalance to the side, right? Other people will call it fair value gaps, but it's all the same thing, right? So people will sell from here, right? Targeting, the lows, thinking, what, this is a break of structure, but this is a mistake because what will happen is price might react to a point of interest, right, and continue dropping as the market always does, right? But you will be very surprised as the market gets to this area how the market will continue moving to the upside, right? So you need to know the difference between internal structure and external structure. In this case, this swing high, which led to this higher high, right? As you can see, we had a higher high right here. This swing high, which led to this higher high. Let me just add this for you. Right. So we have a higher high and a higher low. Right. So within this market structure, we are still technically in an up phase. Right. So whatever happens here is a correction. Right. Whatever happens here is a correction. So it is very risky for you to be trading corrections as you might not know where the correction will end. Right. I'm sure you've seen instances where you do have a swing high, right? And then sometimes the market just pulls back a little bit, continues moving to the upside, or sometimes the market will give you a move which is deeper into the discounted area, right? Or lower, right there, deeper into the swing high, right? And the market continues going up. So I would not advise you try trade these retracements rather, right, or corrective moves if you're not really that experienced when it comes to trading such, right? So as you can see what happened here, price made its way down and then we continued and went on and made a new higher high. This was all because of this impulsive move right here, right? Impulsive move right here, which confirmed us being in an up phase. So this noise, this internal structure should not confuse you or lead you into a lot of losses. All right. So with that being said, as I said, I'll keep this very simple for you guys. I'm going to show you some examples on trades that we actually took today. I did send this out to my VIP channel and I also gave this out to our public channel. Right, as you can see, we gave USD CAD. So I'm going to start off with USD CAD. As you can see, this is what we had, right? A very simple structure. I'll take you to the charts and explain the reason why I gave out the signal. As you can see, we bought at this area, right? So we'll start off with that. So as we go to the charts, this is what we can see on USD CAD, right? Very simple market structure. If we go to the H4 time frame, this is what we can see, right? As the market was moving down, as you can see, we had, some weeks going down, right? And if we look at this from the BTMM perspective, we will see that we had actually completed levels of drop. As you can see, we had the peak formation right there. And we identified, I like identifying this in the H4 as it's more clear, right? So as you can see, if we start from this peak, we can identify 1 week of drop, all right? Another week of drop, as you can see, into a consolidation. And then we had the last week of drop, giving us level 3. And then we went over and had a reset. So as you can see from this reset, what we can see is level 1, right? Level 2 from this area and a last drop, right? We had a last drop right here. Right, so the reason why I bought this was very simple, right? I'm going to explain this from a very clean chart as this trade is still running, right? What we can see here is very simple. We had a rally, base, rally, right? So in essence, we are in an up phase, right? We are in an up phase in this structure that we're currently looking at. As you can see, multiple structures were broken. But what we had here, as we can see, was a rally from this point, giving us that higher high and a base area, right? And the reason why I chose this area was not really that significant, as you can see, as when price got to this demand area, we did have some imbalance, right? Some candles with momentum rather, but as you can see, that area was tested again, right? But from there, what we identified is we had a higher high, right, which is this one. So we had a break of structure confirming the idea that we have of buying this, right? And as you can see, all this was a corrective move. All this was a corrective move. So I'm not saying don't trade corrective moves. You can, but in the long run, right, you'll just mess up your account. So it is better to only stick to high probable trades, all right? Significant trades, significant areas, significant supply and demand areas, right? Trades with clear market structure, because that is the most important thing. You need to identify your structure and understand your structure with clarity, right? You cannot do any guessing game when it comes to trading. Because one thing I've seen about people is when they get to the markets, obviously, because money is involved, a lot of emotions are in play, right? You will find somebody revenge trading or just looking for jumping into the market just because the market is moving because they probably lost a trade where they had, over risked. So you will find traders now coming up with their own strategies, which is not really a smart thing to do because you cannot just decide that you're going to do this today, just because based on how you're feeling today, you know, every strategy has to be back tested so that you may know, you know, the probability or the win rate of a strategy. So as you can see, what we have right here, we sent out the signal, bit of a slow pair, but it will move. All right, we are still in it, and my target on this is this high right here as our take profit one, and second take profit is placed at this supply area. Why did I place it here? Because this area is very significant, right? Drop, base, right? And you can see how price moved away from that area, right? So I will be keeping an eye on this area as well, actually, to see what price decides to do when price gets there. Right. So this is basically USD CAD. We'll see how this one goes. It has been ebbing and flowing. Very slow though, as you can see, but I'll keep an eye on this as we are still holding this as well. Right. But looking at this from the BCMM perspective, it's very simple. What we can see is we had the peak formation low created at this point. All right. We can identify a level of rise. We also identify, if we zoom in, we can see that we have a 1350 crossover. A 1350 crossover means this peak formation low has been locked. So the next trade we want to see, or the next move that we anticipate, is a move back to the 50 EMA. And that is exactly what happened here, right? We had a trap formation below the 50 EMA. So factors of confluence, we've got the 50 EMA in sight, and that same area is an order block, as you can see, right? So that is the reason why I took this trade, and we are holding this in the VIP, and I also sent this out as a free signal for those who are in our Telegram channel. If you're not part of that, do click the link in the description below for free signals, free setups, and I also hold live trading sessions weekly with you guys for free. You don't have to pay anything. So if you haven't done that, do join us. All right. So, and we also took a trade on Euro USD, as you can see right here, right, on Euro USD. So I'm going to explain the reason why I took this trade on Euro USD. Right. So looking at Euro USD, just by looking at this right now, what we can see is essentially this market is in a down phase, right? As you can see, this market has been ebbing and flowing to the downside. So what happened today is when I opened up my chart, moved over to the M5, this is what I identified, right? We had a sweep at this area, because if we look at the structure, what we can see is this market was making such moves, right? Such moves, right? Validating an up phase, as you can see. And what happened is when this sweep happened, right? Price then came and broke structure, multiple structures actually. So when I saw the pullback, as you can see, right, when I sent the signal, that is where I entered at that order block right there, right? And my targets on this one, I want to see this get all the way down to this take profit right here. So that's our take profit one. And if that actually makes its way to take profit one, I will look to see this move lower to this price. All right, guys. So we are still holding this to those who took the trades or those who have been benefiting from the channel. And also keep supporting the channel, right? If you're interested in mentorship, you can find my details in the link below, in the description below, right? But if you do not need any mentorship, the least you can do is, subscribe, leave a like, and, comment in the comment section and tell us of your takeaways from this video. Cheers.